I wrote this essay a few months ago called Machines of Loving Grace. And it was actually motivated by a bit of frustration where when people talked about the upsides of AI, I felt like they weren't being imaginative or specific enough. Lots of people were like, yay, this is exciting, let's do this. There's all kinds of let's go. But when you actually get into the specifics, I think the potential is incredible. So some of the things I wrote about, and it was colored a bit by the fact that I have been a biologist in the past. So I think of biomedical innovations as one of the areas where you can make the greatest progress. So I just went through the various areas of physical and mental health, and a lot of the diseases that we face now are really complex diseases of complexity. And I think AI is really going to help us to cure those diseases. When I think of all the data, all the questions that, say, a pharmaceutical company has, I think there's really a potential for AI to address these issues. But then we get to data that is specific to particular industry or a particular company or customer. And I think that's super important as well. There's a lot of stuff, again, if we go to our example of pharma companies, but it's just as true of finance. It's just as true of tech companies and productivity software. They have a lot of proprietary data where there's information that's simply not contained anywhere else, right? The model can't know facts that it doesn't have access to. And so I think it's important in a number of ways. Sometimes you'll want to fine tune on the data. Sometimes you'll want the model to be able to act and operate on the data. And sometimes you'll want to pull the data into context, as is done with methods like RAG. Sometimes you'll want to have agents that operate on the data. So there's a whole bunch of different ways in which that data will really be essential. And I think it'll be essential for building unique value between the AI companies like us and the enterprises which have that data, right? That's a way to build unique value that isn't substitutable on either side. And I think a lot of what our partnership is about is kind of helping to bring those two things together more efficient.
How should I be thinking about data themselves?
That data represents collected knowledge and wisdom from the company. That it's one of the main things that is going to be synergistic with what the AI models are capable of doing. It doesn't matter how smart you are if you don't know anything and you don't have access to the world. There's only so much you can do. I think it's going to be absolutely critical.
But the ones that I think are the most interesting are where they have some special data that's unique to their customers that they've been collecting. That's going to be really valuable. And that's, I think, what protects them. And that's where they should do the innovation.
I mean, my view is the future of AI mostly is agents.